These are the Clove SuperCush Forte in the color Sand and Light Blue. I've had these for about 6 months, and here is why I will never buy these ever again. What initially attracted me to these shoes is they are waterproof and they're super easy to clean. Those things are both true. I've had full Foley bags empty onto the floor and standing right in it, and nothing has ever gotten in these shoes. I walked in the rain in these and my socks have never been wet, nothing like that. I also really like the way they look. I like the color. You know, I like how they have a little green here. I like the little details on it. I think that's pretty cool. But after 6 months, as you can see, we got a lot of creasing here. This happened probably within the first couple months that I had them, honestly, this creasing here. And then down at the bottom here, we have all kind of scuff marks. I think there's some kind of tread on the bottom here. That's wear it down. You can see this side compared to this side. I mean, I guess you can also kind of tell that where I walk, like my walking pattern here. But these, I have to retire. I gotta get rid of them. I do work full-time in a hospital. We get 40 hours a week. I'm an ultrasound tech, so I'm standing in one spot for a long time. So I need something with good support, good cushion here, so that way I don't have knee, back problems, stuff like that. You know, we already have to worry about our shoulders as ultrasound techs. I don't wanna have to worry about my feet too. So these have completely worn out on me. You know, I was eating lunch the other day, probably like a week ago, and my feet were literally burning when I was sitting down. I felt like I could feel it in the heel, like no support there anymore. So this is why I'm retiring them. These are done. I spent $160 on these. So for only 6 months, and to have them look like this, like really, really beat up from mostly standing in one spot. I mean, I'm transporting patients sometimes too, but honestly, it's me standing in one spot while I scan for the majority of the time, or sometimes sitting down. Like, I don't believe these should look like this at this point. There were definitely a lot of things I really loved about these shoes when I had them in commission. So I personally hate tying my shoes. I really do. I don't want to have to look down and realize my shoe's untied, especially when I'm trying to push a stretcher or stuff like that. So I like this has kind of a pulley here. You can just tighten this really nicely. It kind of makes like a seal, so you don't really have to worry about getting anything in your shoe. The only thing is when you walk, if you don't tuck these in, they're slamming against the ground. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I have a video somewhere of these on the tile. You can hear it slapping on the ground, so I'll insert that in a minute. You gotta tuck these away. Like, you have to tuck these in, and then they're quiet, but this kind of looks stupid, doesn't it? It kind of looks dumb. While I love the waterproof, I love the being able to wipe these down with a cleaning wipe and then just throw these in the washing machine and clean them. These are not at all breathable. By the time I would get home, like, I could actually feel my socks not wet from liquid, wet from honestly my own sweat. Like, nothing gets in here. Like, it is like a hot box for your feet. You will feel it. You'll get home. Every time I would take my shoes off, I immediately would have to take my socks off. Just don't walking around with these on, because it is nasty. We do have kind of a nice insole here. We did, I should say. We did have this here. You can see now it's coming off. It's fraying. It was like a kind of like a double layer here. It was like, I don't know if it's foam, some kind of foam. The edges are completely frayed. You can see where I worn it down. Again, this has only been 6 months. I bought these at the end of January. I didn't even realize this until taking them out today. You know, I took a closer look in here. This looks like the shoe is falling apart here. Like, we've got kind of these threads that look like are coming apart. Like, these are not super well made. I'm pretty sure, I don't think they're American made. I don't remember where they're made. But the quality is not great in these. Like, the stitching here, you know, if I didn't decide to take them out, I'm not 100% convinced that they wouldn't have just fallen apart on me. Look at these, like, all this creasing here, creasing up here. Even the little pull tab, I feel feel like the stitching on this looks like not really stable, especially on this one. Let's see if I can get closer. Camera's not focusing, but the stitching on here, there we go. The stitching, they're not evenly stitched, stuff like that. So $160 for 6 months of these. I can definitely see how people would like these shoes. I think maybe if I was working in a lab or something like that, where I have often contact with material that I want to be able to clean off my shoe, these would be great for that, just because that's, I feel like, is their main selling point, is they're waterproof, they're easy to clean. They look pretty nice too, honestly. These are in their prime, they weren't bad. Your feet do look kind of massive with these on, to be fair. But most nursing shoes and most things like that, with all the cushioning, they make your feet look massive anyways. But you know, if you just need to have something you can wipe down really quick, yeah, I could see that. Maybe if you're not standing in one spot all day like I do, you know, maybe you could get a little more out of this. Maybe if you have like a little more sitting breaks during the day, I could see that. But as far as ultrasound, as far as working in a hospital, like full-time outpatients, inpatients, ER, I don't think these are it. These are not it. You know, this is 6 months of basically standing in one spot, and, you know, we bring patients back, stuff like that, but these aren't looking great. Like, I feel like this is even coming apart here, kind of. You can see kind of this edge here. Oops. Focus, there we go. I feel like this is also coming apart, you know? I'm not really impressed. I really did. I had Cloves when I was in school. I had a different kind. I think they were the Solo. I did like those. I had those for a while. They lasted longer than 6 months, I thought, but I had high hopes for these, especially with all this cushion, but I don't know. I think it's just for show. I don't actually know how much of this is actually supportive, and that was really disappointing to me with Cloves. So, you know, I bought Brooks now. We'll see how those go, and maybe I'll be back in 6. All right, bye.